months to live, what would you do with your time? Would you do something outrageous and different, or just keep living your life as is?
Madam, 3 topics master, Toastmaster, and members. If I have 6 months to live, I think I would like to summarize all the things I wanted to do for the next maybe 40 years, because I'm just 40 now, and the brain science tells us that our brain peaks at 45. So I'm just preparing for the peak of my life. So at this point, I will try as much as possible first to buy as many Powerball as possible. So if I win, I win big for my family. Number 2, I will go for the highest insurance, possibly up to $5 million if I can pay for that. And then number 3, if I succeed in any of these, I know that the future is assured for my family. Then the next thing for me is to party every day. I know that I have accomplished all the things I wanted to accomplish. I have money for my kids, I have money for my wife, I have something for the community. And if I die, they will even live better than I do. Because what if I live and I can't provide for them? What's the essence of life? So why not take it in a way that you leave something for the people, and they will remember you for that, and they will live a better life than you do. So I'll just go for that.
Wonderful. Clearly, Jude wants to leave a legacy that will be remembered. Good job. Next, I do have Eric, who I don't see has a role today. Would you like to come up, Eric?
Sure.
All right. Eric, here is your question. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? How would you use it? And you don't have to go with the usual. You can make up your own if you wish, like super smell, super stress.
One superpower. Wow, there are way too many superpowers to choose from here. You know, the one that jumps out on me, as if I didn't have any time to think about it, if it was a 10-second decision, I'd probably have to go with the flying, Superman style, just because that would be such an adrenaline rush. You could zip up anywhere you want to. You wouldn't have to own a car anymore. Maybe you would keep one for rainy and snowy days, but it would make traveling faster, easier, much more fun, and flying would just be the envy of all your friends. So I think there would be no drawbacks to flying around as a superpower.
Thank you. I gather from that, Eric, you're not afraid of speed, like some of us are. And lastly, our last, we do have a third person. And Deborah, would you mind?
Oh, sure.
That'd be awesome. Hello. Thank you. Deborah, if you had a theme song, what song would you pick? What if the song were played every time you entered a room or walked down the street?
I already have a theme song, quite honestly. It plays in my head all the time. It's Walking on Sunshine. You know that song by Katrina and the Waves? My husband let me play that as a song that we walked out once we got married, the song that you leave the church. That's what played, and people in the church went, "This is the end?" Yes, it was, and we just hightailed it right out of there. And so that would probably be my theme song. I love that song. It's fun, and everybody knows it, right? Everybody knows it? Right. You don't know the back? I don't. Sing it. I'll sing it for you off the camera.
Okay, the camera's off now.
I see the light. Thanks.
personality. She's full of sunshine. So that's it for today's table topics. Back to you.
Thank you very much. So I'm glad that Deborah picked the song that she left the church and instead of saying the theme song was Here Comes the Bride. Because every time you come out, if they played that, that'd be kind of odd. Well, thanks very much. We're now down to the evaluation section of our meeting. Today, Lori has made some notes so she can evaluate JP, and Maggie was, I saw her writing in Matt's book. But to introduce our evaluators and do this section of the meeting, I'd like to turn it over to our general evaluator, Meg. Meg?
Thank you. Lori, do you need another minute to fill in your book? Okay. Please help me welcome Lori, who's going to do the evaluation for JP.
I was very moved by your speech because you really had to come through with many, many language barriers and just learning English. And we all know how tough that can be. We are still learning. And so I think you did a very nice job. As you were up here, you introduced yourself. You told us what you were going to talk about. So you started in with your introduction. And I saw you take a couple breaths. I'm not sure if you were nervous at all, but you did a very good job of, you just kept going, and you had very, very good eye contact. You looked at everybody. You you stood up here very straight. You kind of, when you were talking about things, you would point on your fingers, and that's fine. What I liked about it, you have a very nice, warm voice as you were talking to the audience, and you shared with us. You had humor also, so that was fun when you mentioned, forgetting English, and then you had to learn French, and how you talked about the different professors and how the one was a little short with you, and so you went on to another one. But I was astounded at your interest in Medtronic, and you could see that right away, how you are very appreciative to be here, and you use different words. And so I think you did a great job. So one of the objectives is how well did we get to know the speaker, and I think you shared a lot of things with us, and how you worked hard at learning English and French, and I heard French was hard to learn too. And so you kind of told us about 4 years later you came here and it was a dream come true. And so you didn't use any notes. You seemed very comfortable. And let's see. You spoke very clearly. And it's about what could you have done to improve the speech? That's a hard one for me because I value everybody's speeches, and I valued yours because you're a new member, and for you to come up here and talk to us, especially about your journey and how you ended up at Medtronic was wonderful. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. And now, Maggie, could you please come forward to do the evaluation of Matt?
Hi, Matt.
Maggie?
Well, Matt, this is clearly not your first speech. As a matter of fact, Matt has completed his competent communicator manual, so he is on to the advanced communication series. And for this speech, he picked the entertaining speaker series. And his objective today was to deliver a humorous speech in 5 to 7 minutes using original material drawn from personal experience. So Matt, as far as that general objective was concerned, I believe you hit it right on the nail because you did draw from your personal experience. As a matter of fact, the delivery I thought was quite good because we do know you here already, and we know you as an engineer. So when you, and as I suppose there's probably some preconceptions of an engineer being pretty straight shooter, pretty stand-up guy, right? So when we hear a personal story from your teen years, and you're able to interject humor into that, it came off, I thought, wonderfully. And you had the appropriate moments when you stopped and allowed the audience to digest and laugh with you. The introduction in particular was a good way to introduce the topic, because my thought was, this is supposed to be entertaining or humorous. And so you kind of led us down this path that this was going to be somewhat serious, and then when you made the demonstration at the end of the table here about what it was really, it completely wiped away what we initially thought it was going to be and just took us down a completely different path. And that, I thought, was an excellent use of your effect. I thought, too, a strong point of yours was being able to turn a potentially traumatic event in your teen years, and we all know how that, as a recipient, either the girl or the guy, can be potentially traumatic. You were able to turn that experience into a humorous story, and it was very effective. One of your other strengths was being able to take us back into the mind frame or this mindset of a teenager, and so we're hearing that from the perspective of the teenager, which is very humorous. So good job with that. An improvement I thought you would be able to incorporate future is kind of circle back perhaps to the original setup and how the bright lights at you, and then the trauma, or not the trauma, the mindset of what was going on at that time. How did that actually relay into the reality? What happened after that? Maybe circling back and explain that a little bit more. One other suggestion perhaps is add a few extra pauses instead of running through it, because clearly it was funny for many of us, as I looked around and I heard you were engaging the audience. But if you added a few more pauses and let the actual punchline sink in, and then pick it up. And I think you did that a couple of times, but I felt that you might have been forced to do that because we were laughing so loud with you that you had to stop talking to let us kind of settle down a little bit. So overall, I thought it was a great job. It was very entertaining.
Thank you.
Lori, could you please give the counter report?
Sure. Let's see, John as opening president, a few double clutches and a few sows, or 5 or 6 ahs, and let's see, Alan, quite a few ahs, which surprised me, but that's okay. I noticed that some of us started clapping, so as you're the Toastmaster, you can take the lead and do that when you're up there. And then, let's see, JP, I had a few ahs and ums. Matt, just a few ahs, a lot of so's and double clutches. And table topics master, Maggie, a few ahs. Table topics for Jude, pretty clean, just 1 so and 1 And Eric, pretty clean also, a few so's. Deborah, very clean, just 1 so I caught. And I'll skip over me. And then Maggie has set the evaluator. I noticed a lot of double clutches, but you have very nice pauses. And did I miss anybody? The invocation? Oh, Chris, yeah, you're pretty cool. Okay, all right, thanks.
Thank you. Sarah, can you provide the timer report, please?